Well, guys, international rugby is well underway, and we've had some cracking games this year for the All Blacks, haven't we, guys? Look, guys, in this video, I'm going to cover three main areas. So, firstly, where are the All Blacks currently? What did we learn about the All Blacks after the brutal Springboks series against the world champions? And number three, what is different about this All Black side under Razor compared to the Ian Foster era? Look, guys, firstly, where are the All Blacks at? So, look, it was always going to be a really tough ask going to South Africa. They're the world champions in their backyard, some amazing stadiums with some amazing crowds, certainly putting an enormous amount of pressure on the All Blacks. You look at the All Blacks, it's a pretty new coaching setup. You know, they had some turbulence with Leon McDonald resigning from the coaching regime, him not aligning with Razor's attacking style. So they've certainly had some turbulence already, and look, it is a pretty new All Blacks coaching setup. So they're building, aren't they, guys? They're not there yet, but they're building. Guys, what did we learn about the All Blacks from that box series? You look at the All Blacks execution, and particularly that first test at Ellis Park. Look, yes, the All Blacks scored a couple of tries, but I think if you look at those tries, they were sort of from Springbok defensive misreads rather than the All Blacks putting a number of accurate phases together, fatiguing the defence and then executing their attack. So, yeah, and then ultimately look at that second test in Cape Town where the All Blacks were held scoreless. So there's some concerns about the All Blacks attack execution, which I've highlighted in a few recent videos also. Guys, let's look at some analysis anyway. So, guys, look, firstly, this image here, some really good phases built up by the All Blacks, and there was a really well executed pass by Will Jordan over the top to Sevu Reece, who then cuts in field. And yeah, like I said, they have the Springboks fatigue and under pressure. If you fast forward, the All Blacks, they went to the left side. There was a good break down the left side by Cody Taylor. But look, ultimately here, and I've highlighted it, after 10 phases, there's a turnover against the All Blacks. And 10 phases, guys, is just not enough to fatigue and really apply some pressure against the Springbok defence, probably the best defensive side in the world, and to score points against them. But not only that, guys, let me know your thoughts on this, but I don't think 10 accurate phases against the likes of Ireland, France, England would accumulate points either. So again, execution, not enough patience, and they haven't built enough phases to apply pressure there. The positive is, though, guys, they've put pressure on the Springboks here, and let me know your thoughts on this. But I think in this scenario, probably another 5 to 10 phases of attack, the way they were going, probably would have resulted in a try to the All Blacks. So, yeah, there's potential there. Guys, again, we look to this next photo here. And look, there's a great break by Cody Taylor. They had the Springboks under pressure. But you fast forward and, only about 20 seconds later, the All Blacks support just wasn't there. They weren't able to align their attack and continue their attacking plays to, build some more phases and execute to score a try. So ultimately here, there's an advantage to the All Blacks, and there's nothing going on attack, so the ref blows his whistle. So another missed chance here, and again, another example of the All Blacks not applying enough pressure, enough phases to, getting their attack aligned to build pressure and execute some plays. Guys, the second area I want to highlight about the All Blacks is their kicking interplay. I just question whether or not at the moment their kicking style actually suits the New Zealand rugby DNA. Look, guys, you just watch Super Rugby, and there's not an awful lot of kicking, is there, guys? It's pretty attacking style rugby, isn't it? So I question whether or not they've got to have a look at it and change their style a bit. Maybe a bit more attacking kicks or crossfield kicks or little chip kicks, or a different kicking style that suits the DNA of New Zealand rugby. And maybe at times, maybe they do need to have a look at themselves and kick less and attack more in line with their DNA. But that's something to look at. But in this scenario, look, there was a box kick here by Cortez Ratama, good weighted kick by him. Fortunately, look, you fast forward and you look at this with Sevu Reece chasing, and you look, Willie LaRue, he's quite high off the ground, isn't he? And Sevu Reece has just sort of turned his shoulder to him. He's not really got his timing right. He's not high enough off the ground to effectively compete. You can see that in the photo. And ultimately, it's a yellow card to Sevu Reece. But the point I want to highlight here, guys, is barring sort of Caleb Clark in that first test, I just question whether or not the All Blacks, the kick chase is working as effectively as it could be, and the players are actually getting enough height and have their technique and their intent good enough to catch the ball. And guys, let me know your thoughts on this. But for me, Freddie Stewart for the England side is the best out of all international sides at the moment in their back three at catching the high ball. And firstly, look, you can see why. So, look, he's a tall man, but you see his intent. Like, look at the height that he gets up off the ground. But more importantly, you look at his intent, his shoulder towards the ball, his eyes watching the ball, and his pure aggressive intent to catch the ball. And you see why he probably is the best in the world at the moment in the back three at catching that high ball. For me, guys, he sets the benchmark, and I just think the All Blacks wingers and back three, they've got some improvements to make in that area, you know, particularly the height that they're getting up, their intent and aggressiveness towards catching that high ball, so that they are a bit more in line with the world's best at Freddie Stewart. What is different about this All Blacks side compared to the Ian Foster era? Like, I think if you look at the Springboks series and all the tests to date, certainly the All Blacks are playing a lot more on instinct. So they're playing what's in front of them a lot more. They're looking for space. They're looking for opportunities. And I can think, that's certainly probably the influence of Razor on them to play what's in front of them, which suits the New Zealand DNA. The only thing to that, though, guys, and you look at some of those previous photos, I just think at times they need to get that balance right between playing on instinct, and which works much sooner at Super Rugby with the lower levels of defence versus strong international defensive sides coming against them. So it's that balance between, playing on instinct versus fatiguing and pressuring that defence, and then when the opportunity arises, they play on instinct and they execute their plays. So no doubt Razor will be having a good look at himself and analysing, have we quite got this right with our attack execution? The positive was, for me, guys, and let me know your thoughts on this, but I did actually think that second test, although the attack execution wasn't quite there, I thought in a long time this is the best I've seen the All Blacks handle the rush defence on them. They're simply going out the back door a lot more. They're playing, sort of going back and then wide before going forward a lot more, which gives the back line a lot more space. Look, guys, you look at this photo here, out the back door from Sam Cane to Damien McKenzie, and ultimately they're able to successfully hold that Springbok line speed with, again, highlighted, about 5 Springbok forwards halted from rushing up and applying pressure. So this scenario, Damien McKenzie a lot more space, and ultimately he's able to get the ball wider, running onto it with depth on a number of occasions. So that was certainly much better, and so I'm sure they'll keep building on that. The big thing I did have with that, guys, and let me know your thoughts on this though, I just still thought at times, yes, they're getting the ball out the back and they're getting it wide, but I just think the speed at which they're getting the ball out wide at depth probably could be improved a little, to create opportunities for the likes of Mark Talia or Will Jordan on the wing with space, with them running onto it at speed. That's when they can really challenge these international sides. Guys, let me know your thoughts on where you think the All Blacks are at the moment. Let me know your thoughts on what we learned about the All Blacks after the Springboks series. Guys, let me know your thoughts on what you think is different about this All Blacks side under the Razor regime compared to the previous Ian Foster regime. Guys, if you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and add any further comments you want to add about where the All Blacks are at currently. Some awesome games of rugby this year, cracking series against the Springboks, and many more brutal test matches to come. Can't wait. Cheers.